Hey guys, so I recently made a post on Instagram and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more about it. So let me read you guys what I posted. It's a video of me driving. I'm going to insert it here so that you guys can see it. But my comment was me on the way to get an IUD because unfortunately it's taken Trump's win to make me realize that although I want another kid, I don't want it exactly right now. But just in case of any mistakes, I don't want no hassle on my choice. So I'll just avoid it and have my baby when I'm ready. Just pray for all us women who will be affected in not having a choice regardless of the situation. Okay. So, me making that post, right? For some reason, people didn't want to see the bigger picture. I made it about me and my choice right now. However, I ended it with regardless of the situation. It was supposed to have let people understand that there are some people who have, irresponsible sex and they make the choice of not having a baby, right? And even then, I'm not sure if I want to say that it's irresponsible to make that choice because if you maybe if it's a young girl, a young woman, or a woman who doesn't, understand too much, and she decides, okay, I made a bad decision. I don't think I can have this baby right now, maybe because of financial reasons, maybe because of mental health, maybe, she just not ready, doesn't want to put the baby off into the system, doesn't want to put the baby off to her parents. She realizes she made a bad decision and doesn't want to, go ahead and have the baby. To me, that's not an irresponsible decision. Okay. Now, there are people, and it's bigger than those people who have irresponsible sex. There are women who want to have their baby, but they can't due to medical complications or for any other reason that they can't have their baby and they're forced to have to get rid of their babies. And with the new laws that are taking place or trying to come into place, doctors are afraid. Doctors have to choose between putting the baby's life first or the mother's life first or their job at risk, which I think is a bit extreme, especially for the world that we live in now. Like, we worked so hard, our ancestors worked extremely hard for us to be able to have the choices that we have and the rights that we have. A lot of people are they're responding to my Instagram posts based on people who have irresponsible sex, people who are just having unprotected sex with multiple partners, getting pregnant multiple times, and then, being careless and going to get abortions. Besides the fact of what multiple abortions can do to your body, just being careless, that's a whole different topic. That's a whole different topic. That's not the case here. That's not the topic here. What we are talking about is just being able to have a choice, period. That's the bigger picture here that I don't feel like everybody is grasping. We are literally, well, literally a man or men have the power to tell women what to do and what choice to make with their body. That's a problem. That's the bigger picture. We could talk about everything else. We could dissect everything else. But the biggest picture, the biggest problem here is the fact that men have the power. There's even a slight opportunity where they can control a woman's choice of her body, whether it's because she had irresponsible sex or because it was an emergency, or because she has an emergency and she has to make a choice, or she's put in a position where doctors is choosing her life, her baby's life, or their job. That's the bigger picture. And that's what I think that everybody is confused about. The deeper part of my post was that me personally, I want to make a choice that will avoid me being put in a situation where I can't have a choice, whether it's personal or an emergency. That was it. That was all. But I do know when we're on social media, and I have a platform and I make posts for people to have friendly debates. But when people come in so ignorant and so aggressive rather than having empathy or, just having understanding towards women, it's a very important subject. So, yes, people are going to be passionate about that. And from all angles, we have to understand everyone's vision and POV on the situation. Like, I don't understand why we can't have respect. If you want to enlighten someone, if you want to spread more awareness, why can't you do it in a friendly way? Why does it have to be done so ignorant? We're talking about women procreating right now. It's so weird and crazy to me how all the comments are based upon irresponsible sex. You guys know that you could use condoms, right? Or you guys know that you could just not have sex, right? First of all, the whole part of you could just not have sex. You're going to tell a human, it's part of human nature, okay? Oh, you could just not have sex. Yes, a person, maybe fasting from sex or saying, I'm going to be more cautious on who I have sex with, that's taking precautionary measures, right? But to say, oh, y'all can just not have sex at all, that's crazy. We're humans. It's going to happen. And if it does happen, women need to be able to have a choice in certain situations, regardless. Because if we're going to keep it on if we're going to keep commenting to the irresponsible sex part, right? Why not try to control the men as well? Why not make it to where if men are having sex with a woman they're not married to unprotected within, a certain time frame in less than a year, why can't we put them in jail? That's taking precautionary measures. And we're not just controlling the women, we're also controlling the men because there's two counterparts in sex. There's two people involved, two people making irresponsible decisions. It's not just the woman, it is the man. So if he wants to be irresponsible and not use a condom, knowing this is not his wife, he should be held accountable too. And if this woman is having irresponsible sex and she's letting this man do that, the consequences of that, of the man saying, just like in most cases, I don't want that baby, the woman is left to raise the baby by herself. That's a consequence. If she decides to have the baby, that, you know, that's a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down. But if she decides to get rid of it because the dad is not going to be there and because she's financially not ready and she realizes she made a bad decision, why is she condemned? Then some people are like, oh, well, Tip, they're not banning abortions, right? I never said they're banning abortions, okay? What they're doing is minimizing the time span in which you do have that choice, whether it's irresponsible sex case or an emergency case. They're trying to make it to where it's 4 weeks that you have that option to get an abortion, right? That's crazy because some women do not know in 4 weeks. Sometimes it takes a little longer. I'm okay with the law being the way that it was here in Florida. It was 12 weeks. After 12 weeks, because at 3 months, anything after 3 months, the baby is like really forming, like on its way to having a heart if it doesn't already. I say having up to 3 months, that's doable. That's reasonable. But 4 weeks, 4 weeks, any woman who agrees with that, who's had a baby, I don't want to talk to nobody who hasn't had a baby. And I need women who had a baby, not the ones who had them young and still don't understand what happened and what's going on in a woman's body. Okay? The ones who understand what's going on in a woman. If you understand what's going on, if you're a woman that understands what's going on in a woman's body, you should not be agreeing with any of these new abortion laws they're trying to put into place. It should be left at 12 to 15 weeks. So also in my post, I, talked about me getting an IUD. So some people were like, well, why don't yeah, that's a contraceptive, duh. Why don't you just not have sex? That's being irrational to me. Um, I made that post about me because I'm not scared to put myself on the forefront to share the knowledge or for people to understand the bigger picture of the situation. So people are saying what I'm posting on social media and taking it to heart, not even knowing that I had an IUD already. I'm a 37-year-old woman with one child by choice. Okay. By choice. I've been very smart thus far. Okay. And I made the decision early after I had my son. That's when I realized, okay, this parenting thing. I had my son at a young age. I had my son at 17, and I was left a single mother from day one. I understood by the time my son was 2 years old that I didn't want to have a baby bring him into this type of situation anymore. Like my next baby, I wanted it to come from love in a healthy co-parenting situation. That's how I wanted it, and I knew that. So to avoid having a baby brought in at a time I didn't want it or too young, I went and got an IUD. I want to say I got my IUD like at 19 or 20. I went and got an IUD, and I got the 10-year one because the 5-year one has hormones. So I got the 10-year one. If it was the other way around, if it was 5 years for the non-hormones, I would have gotten the 5 years. But because the 10-year one had no hormones, and the hormones was like, it's a lot of side effects to the one with hormones. I didn't want those side effects. Specifically for me at that young age, I was just worried about my weight. And I was like, oh, because, I was in a lifestyle where my body was my moneymaker. So I didn't want to get fat. So that's why I got the one with non-hormones. It didn't matter to me the other side effects that the one that with the hormones had. So I decided to get a 10-year non-hormone IUD. And that was the best decision of my life. And not because I'm having multiple partners with unprotected sex or whatever. It just avoided a mistake that just could have happened with one partner. During that time I did not want a baby. And I knew that I did not want a baby the same way I had my first baby. I did not want that. So at 8 years, I kind of realized maybe I want another baby now, or I will want another baby soon. So I want to take it out so my body could get back to normal functioning, right? So I haven't had an IUD since I've taken it out, but I did go get DEPO because my partner and I, right now, you know, we have unprotected sex. Okay. To some, that may be irresponsible, but, I do want another baby, and it's probably going to be from him. So if any mishaps happen, you know, that's just something I'm going to have to choke up. But now that Trump is the president and these new laws are coming into place, and they're not coming into place because of Trump, right? It's because of the state, which is understandable. But Trump has made it, because of Trump's election, it's became the topic of discussion based off of Trump. So because he was elected and because all the representatives and everybody chosen is Republicans and they're going to do what Trump says and all that other stuff, and mostly Florida is Republicans, it's a Republican state. Like, I don't want no problems. I don't want to have to deal with nobody, not a doctor, not Trump, not the state, not the Senate, not the governor, not nobody. God forbid something happens to me now. While I do want to have a baby, but not specifically today or tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So yes, unfortunately, it's taken for Trump to become president for me to be like, you know what? To avoid having to maybe deal with the fact that I might have to personally make the choice to get to get an abortion or to deal with the fact that I might have to get an emergency abortion. Like I have no choice after a certain amount of time, a short period of time. So I want to avoid that. Yes, I'm going to get another IUD. And I'm still going to get 10 years, even though I'm not going to leave it in 10 years. I'm still going to get 10 years because it's non-hormones. Okay. So that's why my decision for the 10-year one came about. And that's why my decision for the 10-year IUD is right now. However, I do know not everyone is able to have the same options that I have when it comes to contraceptives. Okay. Some people are allergic to condoms. Some women have complications with IUDs. Some women have complications with DEPO. Okay. All those decisions are between you and God. But, you want to take as whatever precautionary measures you need to take or that you can take if you're not ready to have a baby. And one option can be not having sex, but you're human. It would be irrational for us to think that you're just never going to have sex again and other contraceptives don't work. Like what other alternatives do you have? You can only depend on God. And even Depo, that's a whole nother thing. I had a Depo shot, and for the reason I'm choosing an IUD again is because when I got the Depo shot, I had my period for 9 months straight. That was my experience with Depo. And I was under the impression that you might not get a period at all. And that's really what I wanted. But God had other plans. I had a period for 9 months straight with the Depo, and I got the shot twice. So I think I went in November. That was my first shot. And then I went back. I had to go back maybe in January to get the next shot. You have to go every couple of months or every 3 months, right? So when I went to go do, I didn't stop bleeding from November to January, and I asked the doctor, and the doctor's like, that's normal, but it should slow down after your second shot. Cool. I'm like, let me go get this second shot. Go get the second shot. 6 months later, I'm still bleeding. So I never go back to get another shot because I'm like, nah, I don't want. I don't want to be like, who wants to bleed for 9 months? I had to bleed for 9 months straight. So that was my experience with a Depo. So because of that, that's why I'm now back at an IUD. And some of you guys can say, well, why don't you just not have sex? I am comfortable. Me and my partner are comfortable. And, it's just going to be hard for us not to have sex as attracted to each other as we are mentally, spiritually, and sexually. So, with that being said, I just feel like making the right decision for the contraceptives, that is definitely something that every woman should do their research on. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I did the Depo shot, I did not do a lot of research. I just didn't want to go through the IUD part again. I don't know why. I just felt like that was a little bit more extreme than getting the Depo shot. Um, so I didn't understand how powerful a Depo shot is. Like I did not know that. So yes, every woman needs to do full research on whatever contraceptive that they want to take. Okay. And yes, everyone needs to be as responsible as they can when it comes to sex, man and woman. Okay. We cannot just speak to the woman or make these topics about the women when it takes two to tango.